What up, what up, what up? This is Mike the Philosopher here with a special guest. Key2 is with me. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself, Mike. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, this we're in episode 2 of the Love Experiment. And it's been crazy. It's been crazy. What do you think of the season so far, honestly?
It's been crazy. I was all up in the comments there because it had me stressed out. I think the format of the show is so unconventional, but interesting to say the least. I'm curious to see how it all pans out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's gonna, I'm sure it's probably gonna be some surprise things happening this season. It's a new show, so it's still gotta pick up steam and pick up, viewership and things like that. But like I said, I thought that this was a show that women would love. So I don't know. Um, do you like it better than Ready to Love, or you still kind of hooked on the franchise of RTL?
I'm still hooked on the franchise of RTL, but this is growing on me a bit. I think largely because I'm just trying to figure out where is it all going to wind up? Are there any solid connections that are going to be formed? Because in as much as I like Ready to Love, I can't say the success rate has been that great. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I could say that too. I don't think that the success rate has been the best. I don't know if you know, but there was a couple that was going to get married and they broke it off. I want to say Simone and Rashid. I don't know if you watched that season. Did you watch their season?
I did. So I watched from the first one. I think it was the Houston retreat
Exactly.
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
COVID.
Hmm.
Um, I hate to say it, but I wasn't sold completely on their relationship. But I think I reserved my comments because they had already gone so far. I'm glad they made the best decision for their lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was a shame. I was actually rooting for them. I was hoping that they would, yeah, make it work and things like that. But things happen. I guess you get down to the nitty gritty and get to know somebody, and you find out, that they have some deep rooted issues that they still got to work out. So.
Yeah, but that was
Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
can. I can.
Okay. So yeah, it was a sad ending to their relationship, but obviously I wish them the best. I wish Simone and Rashid the best. I'm sure they're gonna be just fine. Um other than that, let's talk about the love experiment. All right. Now, the first question I have for you is, were you surprised that all of the number one draft picks got sent home?
No, not at all. I was actually surprised you were surprised. Because the nature of the game and the way it's set up is to expose the woman to as many men as possible so that they can make the best choice, right?
Mhm.
This was only the first round, so and they'd only known each other for a couple of hours. Sorry, can you hear me? My
Yeah,
number.
yeah, yeah. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, and so okay, great. So I was hoping that all of them would just let go. I was shocked Tamara had a mini breakdown so early in the game. I know Mike is a great guy, and but would he do the same in the same situation? That would be my question to him. What would he do?
Wow. Okay. So you
Yeah.
thought that all the number one should go home, huh?
Unfortunately, yes. I think at least they would have had to go. Well, if I were in the game, I would have negotiated with my number one to just ask them if, what they would do, first of all. And secondly, I would just tell them that oftentimes what's meant to be will be. If I don't find anything in the next round, we can meet or reconvene outside of the show. I'm willing to drop out if there's nothing for me here. And then if it's meant to be, it will be outside of the show. And he'll be available after the show. But if he's not, then that's also fine. Then we were just not meant to be. But I wouldn't have had a time. I wouldn't have had like a little panic attack the way Tamara had. For a guy you've only known for a few minutes, like hours, well, it looked like it. Um, Mike may be a great guy, but I think they could have worked around it. I was shocked she was so stressed out. I think I know what she's going through, but I'll get to it when we, as we get to the rest.
Right. Well, I mean, to be honest, I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised that all the number one draft picks got sent home. That told me that they don't even trust. They don't know how to pick men. None of them. I mean, how do you draft them all number one picks and they're all bust? That's like all of them going to the NFL and they're all bust. That's not a that's not a good draft record. You to me it was showing that the women don't know how to pick men. Maybe that's why they're on the show. Maybe that's why they're doing this dating thing because that's not their strong point. Picking the right guys, because if you letting your number one draft pick go, look, I know that they're spoiled with choice and all of that, but uh still, it's like what ended up happening is for Tamara especially, she ended up letting Mike go so she can draft Ryan, right? Um, I don't know.
I
I
think
wouldn't. I couldn't necessarily say that Ryan is better than Mike, but and maybe she just feels something with Ryan. Who knows? What do you think?
um, I think Tamara's problem is she doesn't know what she wants,
Okay.
and it's really frustrating in a sea of options. So I think that's Tamara's issue. I don't see that with the other ladies though. Um,
Just so everyone know, we're Kitu is in South Africa, so we're having some technical difficulties. Okay, she across the Atlantic, so bear with us with the connection. But go ahead, Kitu. Can you continue?
am I back? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm in Africa. It's a third world country, South Africa. But
It's all right with
so
us. South Africa. Shout out to South Africa. We love y'all over there. Let's go.
thank you. So where was I? So I think Tamara's problem is that she doesn't know what to choose, and I don't think she knows what she wants. She's there, and she's hoping she'll figure it out in the process, and she's in the worst position ever. Um, because she's in a sea of men that she needs to pick from. But how do you pick if you don't know what you want? So I think this is going to be a frustrating journey for her in particular. Paige and Mars, though, Mars made it very clear that she's looking for something that's different from what she previously chose, from a characteristic perspective, career perspective. So I think her search will be more intentional because she knows she doesn't want a guy. I think she said a guy from the streets or something to that effect. So she's going for the complete opposite. Paige has a reference as well. I think she wants a love similar to her parents. But Tamara, I'm not even sure what she's doing. And I don't even think she knows what she's doing. So
Yeah. Well, eh, if I'm being honest, to me, it showed to me that Tamara clearly has a preference, and I think that she's probably trying to have a a baby by one of those guys. I think she has a preference for Kenny or Ryan. I'm not knocking the guys. If that's her preference, that's her preference. Um, but it's just funny that she drafted the only two white guys that were on the show. She drafted both of them, and she seemed to me to be giving them the most grace and the most leeway when it comes to dating them. She was kind of cutthroat with Mike. I thought that was kind of telling. And then, with Kenny, she had a situation with him, and he at the end he turned out fantastic, or whatever she said. I was like, wow, okay. some guys got a lot more rope than some other guys do. That's the takeaway that I took from that. But let me ask you this: of the new guys, you got Ace, who's a pilot. You got Yannick, who is a software engineer. You got Omar, who's a consultant, image consultant, and Warren, who was a pastor. Which one of those guys do you think was the best addition to the show?
Um, I think all of them were pretty impressive. I'm glad the girls went back, like I said. uh, Ace, it's unfortunate they didn't pick him. Um, Standing there, he wasn't engaging much with the ladies. He didn't show up like much, so I can see why they probably overlooked him compared to the other guys. Um, I liked Ace though. Did you mention Omar?
Yeah, Omar had the long beard, the Amish beard, and it was the image consultant, and the
Yeah,
tailored suit. Yeah,
yes. So he looks good. And I also like Warren, Pastor Warren.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was the bigger guy with the tan coat and
yeah, Pastor.
the muscles, I guess you could say. Okay, okay.
So would you like me to order them? I
Yeah, if you
rank them, or
if yeah, go ahead, rank these guys if you want to. Go ahead.
so I'm just going to give you the top three in my opinion from the ones that we saw on the show, and it would have to be Warren, um, Ace, and then Jamal. I think from a physicality perspective, they were pretty good looking, but yeah,
So you said Warren, Ace, and Jamal.
yes.
Okay.
So I don't think they showed Jamal in the beginning. He had a date with Mars later on. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that date. Well, what was it with with Mars or was it with Tamara?
So it was definitely with Tamara, sorry.
Because I think Tamara was questioning whether or not he was, a cheater and this, that, and the third, and one thing about Tamara, it seemed like to me with the brothers, she really go in on the cheating stuff and on are you going to be there, be faithful. She kind of shows signs of being damaged, and that's her past, that's her story. I get it, but she need to realize that men are men. So just because you get with a different type of guy don't mean he's immune to cheating. I'm just saying. But yeah, I remember Jamal. He went on that date with Tamara. Let me ask you this: how would you rank the women? I often rank the women. How would you rank the women on the show?
It would, okay. So I would rank Tamara first. I think she's beautiful. American women are beautiful, guys. Like, wow. You guys
Yeah.
have some of the most beautiful women in the world, um, black women. So Tamara, closely followed by Paige and then Mars. But yeah, it's a bit tricky between Mars and, okay, no. Yeah, it would have to be Tamara, Paige, and then Mars. Yeah.
Okay.
They all
Okay.
beautiful though.
Okay. Yeah, I went Paige, Tamara, Mars. Just from my perspective, I I do like Tamara's height, and her body is shaped very well. Um, I don't know, maybe it's her mentality that's getting to me that I can't put her number one.
That's
Uh,
what frustrates me the most. She definitely is. I think she's stunning. I think she's beautiful, beautiful
Tamara,
woman.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she's good. She's good looking. Don't get me wrong. She's good looking. I mean, physically, I guess I'm not using just the physical. Um,
Mm.
but she is very good looking. I kind of more like the soft tones of Paige though. I kind of like the
Yeah.
softer tones of Paige, as far as cheekbone and things like that. She just
Okay.
looks a little more just softer, I guess, to me, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I respect your ranking of the ladies. Let me ask you this. Do you think Tamara has a preference with these guys? Or am I just tripping?
I don't want to say you tripping, or I'm just gonna
You
wait a
can, you
second.
can, you can if you want. If I'm tripping, let me know. You can tell me.
Um, so, Tamara, I just think, I don't even think she has a preference. I think she doesn't know what she wants, right? She was hurt by a tall, dark black man, and now she's using that as a means of judging what sort of a guy she doesn't want. And that's unfortunate that she's using a physical standard as a means of choosing a guy. You know, unlike Mars, Mars has specific characteristics that she's trying to avoid. So that opens her up to a vast majority of guys. Tamara is judging men based on the way the guy who hurt her looks. That's what I'm seeing. And
Mm,
that's why she's being drawn to the white man. I don't think it's necessarily her preference. She did say she typically goes for the tall, dark, and that showed her claims. So now she's she's trying to go for something different. Something different shouldn't be based on physicality, I think, and that's where she's losing. That's what I think.
well, maybe she just didn't have access to those guys before, and that's she was always settling for those brothers that had that certain type of look. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, yeah, actually,
Yeah,
that's possible.
because she seemed to like I just found it like she said a couple times that Kenny was he was one of the cute guys and the cute guys think that they, you know, they're arrogant or she said something to that effect. So I know she's super attracted to Kenny. I know that she is you know, she couldn't stop blushing and calling Ryan cute. I don't really see her doing that with a lot of the other brothers, to be honest. I never see her. I'm not saying that she hasn't. You know, especially when she first met him, she was, you know, praising him pretty good too. But uh, it just looked from my point of view that she does have a preference because she was asking certain qualifying questions to those
Yeah.
guys, you know. And I would be pressed to say that if one of the guys was acting in the way that Kenny was acting, she would have eliminated him.
Immediately. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you see what I'm saying? But Kenny is still around and he still turned out amazing. So so I mean, I to me, I'm like, oh wow, he didn't really do much to redeem himself, but he's shown a lot of grace. That's why I started to feel like she was having a preference and a little bias towards the other guys.
Mm.
What? Let me ask you this: when Kenny said "sis" and "homegirl," uh, was that offensive or just a misunderstanding? What do you think? A cultural difference? What do you think?
There was no cultural difference there. It was just pure. I was reeling. It takes a lot to get me irked, but um, I was like, did he just say that? And all the black people kept quiet. Excuse me, sorry. I know you may have some white viewers, but I'm from South Africa, and we are super sensitive about that. Um, you don't call a black woman homegirl, sis, and he would have had a garden chain verbal moment there.
Okay, so I just think that you know it was. I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty offensive. I thought it was pretty offensive when he said "homegirl" and what else he say? Homegirl and sis and all this other stuff. I don't know if he was trying to fit in or
Not
if
good.
he was trying to, you know, be relatable and say something maybe he thought some of the brothers would say. But I don't know. It just wasn't a good look at all. And she didn't take too kindly to it to either. She said, don't be calling me sis and homegirl and all of this other stuff. He did kind of get on her bad side for a little while with that, and she kind of said that he was, rubbing her the wrong way, or not settled in her spirit or something to that nature. But I
Yeah.
just yeah, I just think that it was I think that Kenny is probably feeling like a bit of an outsider, and that's probably why he's sitting on the couch by himself. He's sitting at the bar by himself. He probably feeling like he probably not much competition up against these other guys, but you know, at the same time, a part of me feels like he think he's better than some of these other guys for whatever reason. Um, it was just a bad look on his side. I think the guy should go home. You know, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with Ryan, but I think Kenny should go home. That's just how I feel. What about you?
I agree. He should have left immediately after calling Tamira homegirl sis. That should have been the end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Crazy, crazy turn of events. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next with that. Let me ask you this. Uh, he said that the other men at the event was a bunch of ass kissers. Do you see that with all of these men? Are they all just ass kissers?
No, I don't see that with all of these men. I'm sorry, I don't know if maybe I have a bias against Kenny based on his behavior, but I do not see a bias. I mean, I don't think the guys are kicking ass. I think kissing ass. Sorry. I think they're just pursuing the women they're interested in. And men are typically, well, you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong. Um, Very competitive when they're around their peers or people whom they deem could be competition. So they're just trying to come out victorious amongst the others, which is normal. And yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Kenny though. He is a whole red flag.
Yeah, yeah. He's the oddball. I guess you could say the I don't know if you could say the white sheep in this situation, but he definitely the oddball out. That's for sure. Um, so let me ask you. Uh, Chris came out. He's the lawyer, right? He was on a date with Paige, I believe. He drew her a painting and stuff. That was pretty dope. What did you think about that?
That was so beautiful, and I love the way Paige showed her appreciation for the painting. I
Yeah,
love Paige. Like she's so. I like her spirit as well. I like her energy. I thought that was a beautiful scene. Yeah, I like the two of them together.
yeah, yeah. I got a little thing for Paige. I thought that she was very appreciative, and she showed her appreciation. I love that when women do that. And it took some time out of his schedule to paint that, and it showed some sincere effort. So I'm glad she recognized that and showed him some appreciation. What did you think about him coming out as a virgin? Were you surprised by that?
So yeah, um, I was. How old is he again? I think he's in his late 20s. I was a bit shocked. That's a rarity, especially from a man. So I think it's going to be an interesting journey for him. I hope he can remain disciplined until marriage. But yeah, that was interesting to me. That was pretty
Yeah,
shocking. He's the
yeah.
first guy I've heard um, being a virgin at that age. I commend him for his discipline, though.
Yeah, yeah. Is that something that is normal in South Africa for the men or the women?
For the woman, but definitely not for the men. We all know, yeah, it's just not
Mhm.
common here. Most of the guys are out there looking for easy women, but typically it's the men who are out there getting busy, sowing their
Okay.
seeds.
But
Yeah.
so most of the women in South Africa, or maybe even in, let's just stick with South Africa. That's a normal thing to save yourself a marriage. Is that biblical based, or is that to save yourself for your husband, or what is the motivation behind that?
So both biblical and culturally, because, like for instance, sorry. Oh, okay. I thought I lost you there.
Mm,
But both biblically and, well, because I'm Christian, I mean it. And then there's also my tradition where you have lobola, and if you have a child out of wedlock, there are ceremonies around there. The man's family needs to be notified. It's like a huge family meeting. So
mhm.
women are encouraged to like stay, preserve themselves, and limit body count as well. I was shocked to hear that that's not a thing. Like, so to really just keep themselves for the right man, because that can really shape a woman's not physical integrity, but your spirit, you as a person. So yeah, sorry, now I'm rambling, but I don't know if it really affects a man. I've never heard of it being an issue with the men. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I thought it was a little interesting. I was a little surprised. I mean, I was probably as surprised as anybody else. Everybody was probably surprised to hear that, especially a guy of that age and that caliber. He's a lawyer, he's an
And
artist. Yeah, I guess the women find him attractive, so it was a bit surprising to find that he was still a virgin. So, um, but shout out to Chris. Yeah, hopefully he save himself for marriage. But do you think that that's going to hurt him or help him with Paige?
I'm, I think it may hurt him because I don't think Paige is willing to wait that long. She seems pretty liberal, and that took her back quite a bit. I literally saw that in the engagement or the interaction. So that was, I don't think, I think that's gonna end it between him and Paige, actually.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel the same way. I think it's going to do the same, but I, I guess Paige is not probably not into that. Uh, but we'll see what happens with that. If not Paige, then hopefully he can find a woman where he's, as they say, equally yoked with.
Yes. Can I ask you a quick question in that
Yeah, go
regard?
ahead.
So, do you think that after he loses his virginity and he experiences his wife, um, I mean, what are the chances that he'd be wouldn't be intrigued or interested in exploring or conquering other women?
Um, there really wouldn't be any reason to save it after that. If he did have his first encounter, and he's not married yet, then yeah, he probably will continue to do it and continue to try to get experience. But he needs to find his bride at the church.
Okay.
Find a woman who is as equally as yoked as he is and on the same mission as he is. And because I'm assuming with him it's religious based also, and if that's the case, then he need to go to a religious organization like a church and find his wife there, and probably not on a dating show, because these women are probably far from virgins. Okay, so that's probably um gonna hurt him with Paige, but I think it will help him with a woman who's at his church. So that's, if I could talk to Chris, I would tell him,
Yeah.
look, man, your woman is at your church. Your future wife is at your church. Find her,
Yeah.
or go to another uh not denomination, go to another location, wherever, a woman that shares the same religion as you and same belief system as you, and find your bride in the church, because that's probably the only type of woman who's going to understand your journey. Okay, so if I was talking to Chris, that's what I would tell him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So next question is, Chuck, he came out and said that he has a daughter already, a 2-year-old daughter. Um, were you surprised by that? And do you and what do you think about him having a child and that young already? Would that help or hurt him? You think? I think that's with
No.
Mars too. I believe he's Chuck is with
Yeah.
Mars, right?
Yeah. He was with
Yeah.
Mars. Um, I mean, I wasn't shocked. Most men of a certain age have children. Um, yeah, so I wasn't surprised. I'm glad he brought it up though,
Hmm.
and that they had a date that could allow them to have those sort of conversations. So, and Mars dropped the other twin because the twin didn't have, I think, a relationship with either the kids or their moms, or so I think I'm glad they had that conversation, and Mars seems to like Chuck. So yeah, that went well.
Yeah, yeah. She seemed to like Chuck. They seem to have a nice little vibe going. I think they make a pretty decent looking couple. The thing is, it seems like Mars has not a red flag, but a pink flag out for Chuck and his daughter, who's 2 years old, because Mars wanted to start her own family, from what I understand. So, I think with all of these options, she may end up choosing a guy who don't have no kids. But I was wondering, would that be a problem, like with women in South Africa, is if a guy got a kid or two?
Kid or two. I think ideally you'd like to start off with someone who's at the same stage of life as you. So that's why it's encouraged to sort of date for marriage pretty early. Um, but I guess if he has a child at a certain age, that's okay, because to us, like, the child is the mother's. I know that sounds so bad, but that's how it is here. Like, if you make the mistake of having a child out of wedlock, that child is essentially like your son, your. It sounds so bad when I'm trying to translate it into English. Whew. Yeah. So if he has one child, I don't think it's that bad. Uh,
Okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't necessarily. I don't know. I mean, I'm not dating a dude, but I was glad he was transparent with it. She didn't make it seem like it was a deal breaker, but she did express a preference to guys who not don't have kids.
yeah.
But we'll see how that works out with them. Let me ask you this: are women in South Africa turned off by compliments? Like, if you received a compliment, would that turn you off?
No. Why? No.
Well, the reason
No.
I the reason I asked this question is because Tamara seemed to be turned off by compliments. Okay, she said that guys compliment her on her body and her looks, and she don't like that. That's what she said. And I was like, you don't want your man to be attracted to you? You don't want men complimenting you? I didn't understand that. Like, I had to get a viewpoint from a woman in South Africa to see, am I tripping? Because what I noticed is that Kenny didn't necessarily say how attracted he was to her, and Ryan said looks aren't important. and she seemed to
Wow.
like them guys the most. But the guys who are complimenting her, hey, you look nice. That's, she seemed to be turned off by that. So I was wondering, like, is that really a thing?
Yes. I think I think Tamara is not ready to date. I think sure, compliments are really important in South Africa. You're asking for us as South Africans. Like, they're even like poems. I don't know how to explain it. Like, when a guy sort of pursues you, he has to like make you feel like you're the prettiest woman in the world, even though you aren't.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if you're complimented, you take it with grace, you thank the guy, and move on. I think there's something really. I'm not sure what Tamara's upbringing is like, or her siblings. Does she have any brothers? Or I'm not sure what her family structure is like, but that's a good thing. Like, if a guy compliments you and it seems genuine, like, why wouldn't you appreciate that? Like, you look pretty, you have a nice body. Like, why? That's
That's
pretty
that's
weird.
what that's what my thought was. Like, what woman doesn't like compliments? And why are you more magnetized to guys who don't care about looks? I don't. It was a little
That
confusing to me.
I think the problem with Tamara is she likes Kenny. And I remember you mentioning that a woman has to be with a guy who likes her more than she likes him. And in this case, I think Tamara is sold with Kenny. Kenny doesn't have to do much because,
But here's the thing. Kenny called her sis and homegirl. What do she
yeah.
like about Kenny?
Oh, I see where you're going.
What is there special about Kenny?
That he's Caucasian.
There you go. There you go. And I think a part of me feels like she really wants a mixed child out of this situation. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But what am I tripping with that, or am I reaching a little bit with that, or do you think that you know I'm correct on that?
I mean, that's a possibility. It's not completely out, but now that you putting it this way, it could be. It's a possibility. I
Well,
don't want to draw it out completely,
yeah, and the
but
reason and reason let me explain the reason I say this is because she asked the kid questions with
yeah,
the Ryan, and I didn't see her ask any kid or child or family questions with any of the brothers. I just did not, it was all, are you going to be faithful? Have you cheated, and this, that, and the third. It was not qualifying questions like family and children. She kind of, so that's why I came to that conclusion. I could be wrong, and if I am, that's fine. But that was just a guess on my end, you know.
that's a
Um,
good observation. I missed that completely, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. She when I seen that, I was like, okay, so you asking Ryan about kids, your mind is going to kids and family with him, but with the other guys, you're not. I remember she walked up to, who was that, Ace.
Yeah.
She seen that he was a pilot, and she just jetted.
It's just
It
go
all,
right past.
yeah, she went right past. I never seen her review a guy and leave so quick. All, and it tells me that she probably got a pilot in her past that really kind
Mhm.
of, did her wrong, or it didn't work out for some reason, and she is harboring a lot of her anxieties towards the men, in the hall from her past relationships. And a lot of those probably were a lot of brothers, and they probably hurt her heart a lot. So I'm thinking she like, look, I think I'm gonna just go this way. I'm gonna get, these kind of babies, and I think life will be splendid. And listen, I'm gonna be honest, okay? I love the sisters. I've been to Africa. I seen the same thing in Africa. Okay. Okay. I seen the same thing in Africa. The women there were chasing these guys, you know. So uh, I'm not knocking it. I just recognize it when I see it. I guess I'll say that. Let
I'm
me
not
ask.
going to confirm anything, but yeah, you answer something. You definitely answer something there.
Yeah, yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I hope Tamara get what she's looking for. Okay, whether that be
She,
Kenny, whether that be Ryan, whether that be another guy who comes in. At the end of the day, I want all these ladies happy with their choices and hope it goes the whole distance. And I don't care what race they are. If they're happy, they're happy. I'm just saying I see a bit of a bias, and I hope it's not due to some past pains that she is holding on to, and she think that another type of guy is going to you know rescue her from all of that stuff, because like I said, at the end of the day, men are men. Okay. uh White guys cheat just as much as black guys do. Okay. uh it just don't get reported as much. It just don't, it just don't. And I'll say this also. uh White women are less bothered by it, so that's another thing. they're
yeah.
they're they're less bothered by it. It doesn't, you know for a long time. I don't know if you know Bill Gates. You know Bill Gates, right? He's been all
Uh,
through Africa, the billionaire in
mhm.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he and his wife had an agreement that, and his wife let him, have an affair with one of his friends for a long time. They did end up
Mm-hmm.
getting divorced, but they had the understanding that you can go over there and play and all of this other stuff, but I know you coming back home, and we'll be a family again. So that's another part of it that doesn't really get talked about, is the some of their women are a little more open to it, or less bothered by it, especially if they're probably getting a certain type of lifestyle out of it. What do
I've
you,
seen that. I agree.
yeah.
I've seen that with a lot of not only Caucasians. I've seen that with even Black people. But I agree, the exposure is really limited in the white community. I don't think they expose it that much. People just really keep it on the hush, maintain the marriage, and then at the right point, when both parties have reached an agreement, then they'll either divorce or stay married, but live separate lives because it makes financial sense, or they have like a business or a legacy that they've been working on, and it just makes sense to stay married.
Right.
Um, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, I agree. But at the end of the day, I just hope that she realized that men are men, and they're going to move a certain type of way, regardless of what race they are. So, one thing I don't particularly care for is when people start thinking that other races are better than their own. You know, um, it just it shows a bit of Stockholm syndrome, in my opinion. And that Stockholm syndrome is a bit of an illness to me. So I view it and I treat it as such. So there you have it. Let me ask you some other questions not related to this. I just want a South African woman's brilliant opinion about this. Okay. Um, if a woman, okay, so if a woman gets a man that doesn't provide and protect, right? Do you think that she will be settling if she has a man who's just not good at providing and protecting? Do you think she will be? Is it fair to say she will be settling? for that guy?
She doesn't get a way to say she would be settling. Um, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So if a
she would.
woman, because those are the two things that are expected of any man on the planet. Doesn't matter where you are. So if a man doesn't do that, a woman will be settling.
I don't
Named it.
like that word. Sorry, but okay.
No, go ahead.
You can.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I don't like that settle word. Uh, she she'd be settling. So she'd be, or does that mean she'd be choosing less than what she deserves? That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
She
pretty
doesn't get a.
much. Yeah, that
Oh,
she'll be choosing less than she deserves, and yeah, pretty much less than what she deserves. What do you think?
yeah. I think most men innately want to be providers and protectors to the women that they love or want to build a life with. So yes, she would be settling. That's what I think.
Right, especially for a husband, right? If he if
Definitely.
he if he if he doesn't do that the whole duration of the marriage, she would have pretty much been settling.
Yeah,
Okay, so finish this sentence, okay?
sure.
If a man doesn't get blank and blank from a woman, he will be settling.
Um, um, respect and support.
And respect and
Yes.
support.
Yes.
Okay, so a man should definitely be getting respected by his woman. If he doesn't, he's settling. And support. If he doesn't get support from his woman, he's settling.
Yes. So
Uh,
by respect as well. Sorry.
no, go
May
ahead.
I elaborate?
Yeah, go ahead. Finish it up. What were you saying?
So like, I think you need to honor him as well. Like honor his name, his reputation. And I find like that's not popular all around the world. For instance, like the last thing I'm shocked. I've seen people fight in public. We don't do like you're encouraged not to fight family or your partner in public. We're literally laughing the whole time. And they will like deal with whatever needs to be dealt with in a safer space because you're honoring your family or your partner's name or who he
Hmm.
is. Do you know what I mean? And that's the respect part. The last thing you want to do is drag someone in front of everyone. It just makes you guys weaker as a couple as and yeah. So respect is important and support. So I'm surprised. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I like it. I like it. It's respect and support. Uh, yeah. I would say those are definitely essential. I would, and this is a word that bothers a lot of Western women. Okay, but I would say submission is probably number one. And because respect and support can kind of go into that submission category, right? So you could probably throw both of those in that. So like submission is the parent obligation, I guess you could say, and respect and
hmm
support are the children of that parent thing. So they're under that. Um, and I would say femininity also. And with femininity comes some other things such as, domestic, cook, clean, take care of your man, take care of your kids. Always be a lady. Don't, you know, be a potty mouth. Don't be disrespectful. So all of that can go under femininity. So that's why I would say uh, the two things would be submission and femininity. And if you have those two things from your woman, everything else will fall into place. With the respect,
Free
with
coaching,
the what do you think about that?
free coaching and noted. That makes sense. I'm glad you could like reduce it into 2 words. That helps quite a bit. So um, that makes complete sense as well. So submission and femininity. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Submission, because submission, if you submit, then you're going to be supportive, right?
Yeah.
If you submit, you're going to be respectful. So that's why I think submission is like the parent to those two you know, children you know, categories or subcategories, I should say. But yeah, but you know, I agree with what you said also. I just broke it down a little bit more, that's all. Um all right, one other question I got for you on the love experiment. Okay. Paige let Justin spend the night. You remember that?
Oh my goodness, Justin. Is his name Justin? Oh,
I
oh my.
think it's Justin. I'm you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I put his name if it's not Justin, but I think it's Justin.
It
Uh
was, yes, Justin. Yes. Oh, he's good
yeah.
looking. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I was also like, I would never pick, sorry for like rambling now, but I'd never pick Justin. I just think like he's very good looking and I probably have a crush on him and that would really blur my judgment. I wouldn't be able to make proper decisions. I'd be a Tamara with Justin. So I'm like, oh my goodness, hey,
So you said you wouldn't
okay.
have picked Justin because
Hello.
he's too good looking?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't pick Justin because I'd probably have a crush on him. I'd probably like him the same way Tamara likes Kenny. It would be unjustified and just on a very superficial level. So
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
that would be risky because I don't know if I'd be able to make the right judgment. And I'm not saying I don't trust myself. I just think like when you already have a crush on someone, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I
Oh, I'm
blurred
so
out a little
sorry.
bit, but yeah.
The problem is when you already have a crush on someone, it becomes very hard to think rationally or make the best decision. Like he would probably not even have to pursue much. You just have to smile, and then you're already like swooning, and you just say your name, and you're already like melting. That's dangerous.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I know that that's how Tamara is with Kenny. He don't have to do much to get on her good side. He can call her sis and you know, all kind of other things and still turn out fantastic or amazing at the end. So yeah, yeah, I just thought that that was interesting. So even though I know you said you probably wouldn't have picked him, what did you think about him spending the night though?
I actually liked his well, his discussion with Paige. I'm really glad they got to that level of depth or intimacy in their conversation.
Mm.
Um, I also liked his response. Maybe I'm being biased as well because I like Justin. He was like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I was like, oh, this guy is saying all the right things. I'm
Mm.
glad he accepted to, well, Paige asked, so I'm glad he agreed. But even if he didn't, I just think he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a cool guy. Paige seemed like a cool chick.
Yeah.
I'm making a prediction that he gonna propose to her by the end of the
I think
season.
it's Preston.
Huh?
I think it's Preston. I definitely think it's going to be Preston.
You think it's gonna be Preston? I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if it's Preston either. But I think I'm putting my chips all on the Justin in the Justin category.
Interesting.
You could put yours into Preston. I did before too. I was thinking Preston myself because I like they vibe together. They make each other laugh. They got a lot in common. They came up the same way. They had grades and all, straight A's in school, but they're, class clowns. Very similar vibrations for them
Yeah,
too. So
yeah,
I could really see them two going all the way. But I think there's something to be said about someone who's a little your yin to your yang, so I think that maybe that's why Justin is going to have the head start, because if Paige is turned up in the class clown, I think the energy she needs is adjusting to mellow her out a little bit. You know what I mean? And I think Justin needs a woman like Paige to kind of bring him up a little bit. So I think there's a yin and a yang balance with them two. That's why I'm kind of leaning more towards Paige and Justin. You see what I'm
I
saying?
can see that.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see that, but I still think it's Preston, but we'll see how it goes. Should
No,
be, I can,
yeah, that's cool. Again, I don't blame you because I can definitely see the Preston and Page connection. They are as equally yoked. They're probably the same person, pretty much. Uh, so I can definitely see that connection. They make each other laugh, easy to be with each other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll have to wait and see at the end of the season, but it could go either
I can
way.
see that.
Yeah. So do you have any last words about the show?
Okay, I was just saying that the whole show seems to be a lot more effective than Ready to Love because at least they have a proposal in the first season, which is quite impressive. Oh no, but Ready to Love I think also had one. So yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, I think I'll be interested to see how things turn out. Do you think Tamara and Mars is gonna get engaged by the end of this season?
no, I think Mars will definitely come up with someone, and Tamara, no, I don't think she'll be able to come up with anything because she doesn't know what she wants.
Yeah, yeah, I could
Yeah.
see that too. I could definitely see that too. So, all right. Well, yeah, so there you have it with episode 2 of The Love Experiment. Is going kind of crazy. It's getting kind of crazy. If I'm being honest, I do like the RTL setup a little better because it's a little more fair to the men, but even then, it's not, even RTL is not fair to men. You know why I say that?
Why?
Because how many men are there right now? There are 5 men, right? There's going to be
Okay. Yes.
yeah, and there's going to be 5 men. Oh, wait a minute. Did anybody go home? No, it's only 4 now.
But I didn't watch the recent one, but I'll have to catch up. I remember there being five, so they're four now. They took out two men the last time, but they haven't taken out two women. So
Yeah, that's right. That's why I say it's not fair because they never took out 2 women, but right now it's 4 men left.
mm.
And I'm not gonna spoil it for you if you didn't see it yet. Have you seen it yet?
I was actually just starting before we had our call, so friends say that. But no, I didn't see the outcome. I was so
Okay.
busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna tell you who got eliminated, but let me ask you this real quick too. Did you see my video on the men ranking?
The men ranking, no, I'll definitely catch up though, but I
Okay.
haven't had
Okay.
time today.
All right. Check that out. check the RTL show out, the rankings, and maybe we can conclude some more conversations. I really appreciate your point of view, uh, Kitu. You bring a lot to it, and a great female perspective. So I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Um, I hope more ladies will join as well because it would be nice to have different perspectives from different locations and countries, um, just to get a sense of how far we are from each other in terms of the relationship dynamic. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's very interesting too. And she brings up a good point. If you would like to join us on the on this and us debating the shows, hit me up in an email, blackmanrankings@gmail.com. We really would appreciate your input. You could be male or female, it doesn't matter. Okay. Let us know what you think. We will look out for that, and we will catch you in the next one. Before we go, is there anything else you want to add?
Thank you guys for having me and being patient with my network. Cheers. Thank you.
Yep. And yep. Again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.